here's Brody Brazil.
Just a quick video to touch on a couple different developments over the last several days. And the commonality is here that everything kind of sounds alike. For example, we're obviously discussing the A's potential relocation from Oakland to Las Vegas. But what about that potential referendum vote in the state of Nevada as $380 million of public funding is being challenged by the group Schools Over Stadiums? And then there was the definite resolution passed on Tuesday night by Oakland's city council as they desperately attempt to keep a baseball team in Northern California. Okay, more on the Oakland side of things in just a second, but let's begin on Monday in Carson City. The Schools Over Stadium group, they had a hearing. They're facing a lawsuit about their petition, one which would need them to gain 102,000 signatures by July. If they can do it across 4 different districts in the state and they get it certified, they can put a referendum vote on the ballot for November of 2024, basically a year from right now. And if that referendum vote passes by the tune of 50% plus 1, it would essentially take away all of the A's public funding for their stadium project in Las Vegas. But that petition was being challenged in a lawsuit by 2 separate individuals, one of them a lobbyist of the Oakland A's. You may recall the name Tabitha Mueller. She was all over coverage of the Nevada legislative session in the first few months of this year. She's from the Nevada Independent, and this is what she says about what happened on Monday. A Carson City judge has rejected the language of a proposed ballot referendum petition that would have repealed public funding for a new Major League Baseball stadium in Las Vegas, saying the language was legally deficient and at points confusing. So what the group was trying to put together was this petition, gain the signatures, and eventually, as mentioned, take away the public funding. Judge James Russell said the issue is not about the content of the ballot question. He also noted he is, quote, probably more passionate towards building schools than I am stadiums, end quote, but whether the petition follows state law governing referendum process, which is so detailed and is so far from my knowledge, but that's what the judge is here to do, decide if their approach was legally an option or not. Turns out he uses the word legally deficient and confusing. Quote, the order of the court is that the referendum petition is legally deficient because it does not provide the full text of the measure when gathering the necessary signatures as mandated by the Nevada Constitution, end quote, Russell said. So some see this instantly as a setback. The group is out there trying to move forward, trying to block public funding. But I do have some reactions because setback has been used as a description. Failure has been used as a description. Some people think their efforts are wasted, done, over, unsuccessful. But in reality, 2 things. They can appeal this, or they can start all over again and submit a brand new referendum petition. And they've got a significant amount of time. They have to get all these signatures by July 8th, 2024. And here's the thing. They had yet to even go out and gain a single signature yet. The point is, there wasn't a bunch of work that got thrown away here. Their aim was apparently legally misguided, wasn't going to work. It got challenged here and now, and they're going to keep going. And they will eventually reword the language, either in challenging it or in submitting a new petition, and they can start gathering their 102,000 signatures as soon as they get it right. Now, I would say it might be a setback in the sense that, okay, they faced one lawsuit. They had a hearing, and they were told they couldn't move forward as planned. What if the next time they start to move forward and face another lawsuit and get slowed down or eventually stopped that way? My point is, I don't know if this lawsuit, the hearing, and the pivot, I don't know if this cycle ever ends. Was this a one-off? Can it be challenged again? Most certainly, but will a challenge be successful again? I would also say that the more this happens, the more attention all of this brings to schools over stadiums and the A's and one of their lobbyists being part of the lawsuit, being the initiator of the lawsuit. Obviously not a great image thing to be coming into town and suing a group titled Schools Over Stadiums and a group that's fighting for money for education. And obviously people will say, well, the money's not actually going from the stadium to education. That's very true. Educators are trying to preserve the state's budget, so when they do ask for things down the road, there will be that money in place instead of having it already be committed, to spell that out. So again, calling it a setback is accurate in the sense that they just can't move forward tomorrow. But again, the biggest takeaway is that they hadn't even gotten underway with their work yet. And so nothing was really lost other than a small bit of time, and even that was pretty efficient in this process. They didn't lose months of time over this. The lawsuit was raised a while back. Things have been resolved here and now, and maybe they can get it right and move forward. So that's one half of the news that I wanted to cover. The other portion is this: the resolution passing on Tuesday night by the Oakland City Council. One that I talked about here on the channel, the resolution between the Port of Oakland, the Mayor of Oakland, there she is, Shang Tao at an A's game at the Coliseum, as well as the City Council. Now that came up as expected on Tuesday night, and it passed, I guess as expected, unanimously, 8-0. So for as much as over time, maybe there were some City Council members who were never fully on board with the process based on politics involved, people involved, what they wanted to get out of it, a sign of unity that they voted 8-0 in favor of this resolution. And the resolution, which I detailed here on the channel, it basically does two things. It kind of sets the record straight on what Oakland had for plans, what Oakland was willing to do, the work that they'd already done. But it also really seems like Oakland is trying to send the early message to baseball before any type of owner's vote about the A's relocation that they want something back from this. They want something out of this. If the A's plan to play multiple seasons after 2024 at the Coliseum, that Oakland's going to have to get something out of it from baseball as collateral. Mayor Shang Tao gave a pretty passionate speech. There was even an expletive used at one point. This was a 45-minute press conference before the City Council meeting, which in part they passed this resolution 8-0. And one of the main points that she said over and over is that nobody from baseball during this process of studying relocation or considering it, nobody's ever reached out to her to get the Oakland side of the story, or where things stood, or what actually exists, or what they are willing to do as a city. And she'd like to. I mean, I think she made it very clear, reach out to me. If you've got questions, concerns, if you need clarifications, I'm here. Because obviously the fear is that the league and its owners, they'll just believe what they've already heard elsewhere from a very small circle of sources, or through a third party, or didn't get it direct. I think she's very much interested in having Oakland's voice and opinion and potential be out there, and feels that up to this point it has not been considered, that baseball might just do what it's going to do anyway. So we'll see where it goes with that from here. What effect did this resolution passing happen, if any? I know the other criticism that's out there. Well, this is just for show. This is so that they can take the pressure off themselves, loosen the blame. If it comes down to relocation, they did something. And I understand why that's a criticism too. But I also feel like clearing the air, telling your truths, making sure that Oakland gets heard, and the other side of it, right? Because in baseball and sports and media, there's no problem getting your message out. especially when baseball's the one that's making a decision here. They're the ones taking a vote. The public isn't voting on this. So Oakland wants to get its side out there on the table. And I don't think that Oakland has been perfect at all in the entire process. I think lately, in recent months and years, they've come a long way. They've done a lot of work. The amount of grants and funds that they've raised from a federal and state level, like close to $500 million, is so impressive, and I'm so thankful that it won't be wasted. They will get to using that money at Howard Terminal for something. But it took them a long time. It took them a long time to even have the City Hall meeting like they did today, the press conference / rally all at once. And so I hate to say that all this is too little too late. It's not. I mean, it's striking at the right time. I wish we had seen more of this over time, but I also understand that things in the press conference and the public comments, they were pretty heated because, well, they were motivated to speak like this because of all the actions in the last 7-8 months by the A's. One thing has led to the next, I totally understand. You know, the other thing about this resolution, it kind of puts actually a little bit of pressure on Oakland, because if baseball comes back and says, all right, we like your deal for the A's, with the current owners, with somebody else, or what about an expansion team? Okay, you've shown us what you have in place. We're ready to take you up on it. And the city council just voted unanimously 8-0 to say that they'll do not pretty much anything, but that they've laid out a plan that they like, that they will move forward and act on. So, I mean, in a sense, if you're Major League Baseball and you're definitely doing expansion, like, no, they are definitely doing expansion, you have a turnkey city ready with a fan base that's passionate and that's motivated, and multiple sites, the Coliseum or Howard Terminal, and city leaders that want to get it done, city leaders who have already pumped in almost $500 million. In a way, it kind of puts the pressure on Oakland, like I said, that if baseball takes them up on it, now they got to go. They got to be ready for this because they've put it out there. And they had to, and I think it was the right thing to do, again, from setting the record straight, but maybe also planting the seed for something else down the line. So anyway, those are two different topics. The referendum potential vote, which still could happen. Again, I don't think that's as far off as anybody might lead you to believe. It's not a failure. It's not the end of that. It is a setback, but they didn't lose anything. And then the resolution, which we knew would pass. We didn't know 8-0, but we'll see what that brings. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.